the river meets the sea. In a sleepy coastal town named Fairhaven, where the scent of salt and sea lavender danced in the breeze, lived a girl named Alara. She was the town librarian, quiet, thoughtful, and always seen with a book pressed against her chest. Her world was one of words and wonder, yet it felt like someone, was missing. One late summer evening, as golden light spilled over the harbor, a stranger arrived. His name was Callum, a marine biologist from the city, sent to study the migration patterns of the whales that graced Fairhaven's shores. He was everything Alara wasn't: restless, bold, and full of stories from faraway oceans. They met by accident, or perhaps fate, when Callum wandered into the library, asking for books on marine folklore. Alara raised an eyebrow at the request. "Most people come here looking for romance novels," she said with a small smile. "I like to think the sea tells love stories too," he replied. From that moment, their worlds collided like waves meeting the cliffs. Days turned into weeks. They shared coffee in seaside cafes, strolled barefoot through tide pools, and read to each other beneath the lighthouse at dusk. Alara showed him the poetry of silence, Callum showed her the rhythm of the wild. But as the season shifted, so did the wind. Callum's research was ending, and with it, his time in Fairhaven. The thought of goodbye hung between them like fog over the harbor. "I don't want to leave," he confessed one night, under a sky filled with stars. "Then stay," she whispered. "Stay, not because you're afraid to leave, but because you found a reason to stay." "I have," he said. "You." But life wasn't a fairy tale. Callum had commitments, a career, a life waiting back in the city. They promised to write, to visit, to hold on to what they had. Weeks passed. Then months. Letters came, calls grew fewer. The world outside crept in, slowly eroding what the tide had once brought in. Alara returned to her books. Her heart carried the memory of him like a seashell, beautiful, broken, and echoing with the sound of what once was. One winter evening, as snow kissed the edges of the sea, Alara walked to the lighthouse for the first time in months. And there, standing in the wind, was Callum. "You came back?" she said, barely believing it. "I realized something," he said, his eyes never leaving hers. "The sea may be wild and wide, but my heart only found home in one place." She didn't say a word, she just stepped into his arms. And in the small town where the river met the sea, two souls finally found the shore they'd been searching for. The Sound of Falling Leaves. Chapter 1, Autumn's First Touch. Anna was a violinist in a small orchestra in Vermont. Every fall, the leaves would paint the town in brilliant shades of orange and crimson, and the cool breeze would carry the scent of apples and wood smoke. It was her favorite season, not only because of the beauty but because autumn always seemed to bring something new, a change, a beginning. This year, change came in the form of a man named Elias. He was a writer from New York City who rented the cottage next to hers, seeking solitude to finish his novel. Anna first saw him standing in the garden behind the cottage, trying, and failing, to rake the leaves. His frustration was so genuine and oddly adorable that she couldn't help laughing. He looked up, slightly embarrassed, and smiled. First time fighting with nature, he said. Apparently, she's winning. Chapter 2, 2 Cups of Tea. They slowly became friends over shared cups of tea and conversations by the fireplace. Elias loved her music. Often, when she played late into the evening, he would sit outside and just listen, letting the notes carry him away. One night, he knocked on her door with a simple question, "What do you think love sounds like?" She smiled and replied, "It sounds like silence after the last note fades, when the world holds its breath before starting again." From that moment, something shifted. Chapter 3, A Song Unwritten. They began spending nearly every day together. Walks under golden trees, spontaneous dinners, her teaching him how to hold a violin, and him reading his stories to her, letting her hear his characters before the world did. But Elias was only supposed to stay for 3 months. As winter crept closer, so did the inevitable end of their time. One snowy evening, he confessed, "I don't want to go back." Anna looked away. "But you have a life there." "I think it's here now. With you." Chapter 4, The Departure. Despite his words, Elias left. His editor demanded the book be finished, and he promised he'd return. Weeks passed. Then months. Anna played her violin every evening, hoping he'd hear it, wherever he was. Then one day, a package arrived. Inside was a manuscript titled, The Sound of Falling Leaves. The dedication read, "For the woman who taught me how to listen." Chapter 5, Full Circle. The following autumn, just as the leaves began to fall again, Elias returned, not for a visit, but for good. He bought the cottage. This time, he raked the leaves without complaint, laughing with Anna as they danced in the swirling wind. He proposed under the same maple tree where they first met. And when Anna asked him again what love sounded like, Elias smiled and said, "It sounds like your violin, and you saying yes." Epilogue. They married in the heart of autumn, with music in the air and falling leaves around them. Anna never stopped playing. Elias never stopped writing. But now, their stories always ended the same. Together,